everything or anything. You want to make things better. But if you're really a consciously evolving being, you may have a tendency to be too critical and too judgmental of yourself. You would take the judgment and criticism off of everybody else, and you start to be extremely critical and judgmental on yourself. When you begin to wake up to your spiritual identity, you will find yourself being too critical of yourself. And when you begin to wake up, you go, I am responsible for how I'm seeing things. I'm responsible for how I'm seeing things. I'm responsible for how I'm seeing things. Just the other day, I was busy trying to get ready to crank up my blame machine. and all of a sudden, my inner voice just reminded me that whatever was happening in my experience right now, I'm responsible for how I'm experiencing that, and nobody else is responsible for how I'm experiencing that. And I know I'm saying this over and over and over again, but you know what? Until we actually are happy, we haven't got it.
Right.
You haven't heard it. I could say it 1,000,000 times. You say, well, he says the same thing every week. Of course I do. How many is too many times to hear you a superstar? How many times is too many times to be told that you create your reality and that you can be joyful and abundant and happy? How many times is too many times to be told that you are safe and that you're healed and that love is what you are? It's funny. I used to never get too tired of listening to the crap that the world would say, but I would find myself being very impatient with what the truth said. Mm-hmm. But I had endless patience for the stuff that the world was saying. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So what we're seeking right now is what kind of connection?
Heart connection.
The heart connection. So the first step is to forget that you may not feel holy, that you may not feel innocent. Forget the fact that you might not really feel innocent. A mind that feels guilty is a mind that creates punishment and attack and hurt for itself. A mind that recognizes its innocence is a mind that doesn't believe it deserves to suffer. A mind that believes it's innocent is a mind that believes it does not deserve to suffer. Even in the world, when we think someone is innocent, we don't think they deserve to suffer or to be punished. But think about this. What do people like to feel more than anything else? Guilt. They almost pride themselves in how guilty they feel about everything. So the first thing is to forget it's okay. Forget the fact that you may not think that you're innocent right now. That's okay. That's rule number one. The next thing is to forget that the world doesn't appear to be sacred. Forget that the world doesn't appear to be sacred. I admit it. Sometimes the world seems like it's a hard, challenging place to be. So just for a minute, I need to forget that I look at the world that way. Just for a minute, you need to forget that you see yourself as less than innocent. First two steps. The next step is to remember that you are innocent and to remember that you are holy. Holy means innocent. So when I say holy, I'm just saying you're innocent. Didn't say you didn't make mistakes. Didn't say you didn't make mistakes. Didn't say you didn't make mistakes. I didn't say you didn't make mistakes. I said you were innocent. What you truly are is innocent. If you fall in a vat of mud and you get a shower, right, beneath the mud is you. Mm-hmm. You are still innocent. The mud may be your beliefs and ideas about guilt. So right now, in a sense, you're being washed clean through the way that you're thinking about yourself. Hold up just a second, Chris. Okay, then the next thing is forgetting things can free you to remember things. Forgetting things can free you from remembering things. You know, the more joy that I allow myself to experience in my life, the more I forget the grievances that I think that I have against other people. I notice that there's a direct correlation between how happy I am and how forgiving I am. There's a big correlation between how happy you are and how forgiving you are. So therefore, you owe it to everyone that you know to allow yourself to be as happy as you can possibly be and as joyful as you can possibly be. Because the more joyful you are, the more satisfied you are, the better you feel about yourself, the more you will overlook whatever it is you think they've done to you. Because you won't even have time to even focus on the stuff that you think people are not doing that you wish they would do for you. You know, people who are constantly focusing on needing to overlook grievances, those are people who are miserable. Because if you were really having a good time and experiencing that love and that heart connection, you really wouldn't have time to think about what your 5th grade teacher did. So if you find yourself all day long thinking about everything you're upset about and everybody you're upset about, it's because you're miserable. You're the miserable one. Not them, you. Okay, what were you about to ask me, brother?
Now,
and other people can ask me stuff too.
Now, Earl, I'm gonna be honest with you, because like in like some of the stuff that you're saying right now, I'm experiencing resistance and fear, and the reason why is because I still feel that like that I need to like figure it out, because if I don't figure it out, then I ain't doing my part and I ain't gonna make the grade, and then in the end God's gonna be like, well, you didn't make the grade. Like for me, it's like very alien for me just to like I'll have like some problem come up in my head. For me, it's still very alien for me just to be like, oh, okay, let go and it'll figure itself out. I'm like thinking, no, I need to figure it out, because I need to be responsible. I need to be proactive.
And isn't that something that you've been doing all your life?
Yes.
How's it been working out for you? I mean, be honest. I mean, if you pretty much given that pretty good shot. I think everybody in here is figuring it out for yourself a pretty good shot. Okay. You know what's really funny? Let's say you took the whole idea of God or higher power and you just took that idea for a second and you just threw it out of the window. Okay. There's not hardly anything. I know. I go further than that. There's not any problem that anybody in this room has that someone else hasn't had that exact same problem in some form or another, and that there is a solution for that problem that's already been given you and is available to you already. Whatever you tell me the problem is, because really your peace and your happiness doesn't have anything to do with the thing that you think you're upset about. Your unhappiness is really coming from what you're telling yourself and what you are believing about yourself and what you're believing about the situation right now. I'm going to say that over and over again. Your feelings are always coming from your perceptions. Your feelings are always, so therefore there can be some people who, let's say, was in an accident and they lost the use of all their limbs, and they have more, and some of those people have more peace than everybody who has the use of all their limbs, because of the way they're looking at the situation that they're in. So the really powerful person is the person that recognizes that their unhappiness has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with anything outside of themselves. It has completely to do with who they think they are, what they believe about themselves, and how they're thinking. It's like when you just said to me a minute ago that this was frightening to you and some of the things that you heard was fearful to you. It makes perfect sense, because if something that you're hearing is exactly the opposite from the way that you've defined everything to be and how you based your whole reality, it's a natural reaction to feel fear when you're hearing something radically different from what you've taught yourself is going to protect you. And what you've taught yourself is going to protect you is the way you already think.
Yeah.
So a person that's ready to make a real change is always the person that's willing to hear the stuff that they have fear to hear the stuff that they've got some resistance to, because now they want to do it differently, so now they're willing to think differently. So you have to forget things so that you can remember better. What do I need to forget? I need to forget what I was told about being sinful. I need to forget what I was told about being guilty. I need to forget what I was told about being unworthy. I need to forget what I was told about being a victim. I need to forget what I was told about not having a God or a higher power to support me and guide me and teach me. I need to forget what I was told about everything being fearful and there's no such thing as love. I need to forget what I taught myself about lack. I need to forget what I taught myself about limitation. I need to forget everything that I have taught myself that is not bringing me any joy. So I can remember that I'm innocent better, remember that I'm powerful better. I had a person ask me the other week, told me the other week, that they really hated themselves. They hated themselves and that's just the way it was. And they were saying, well, how can I change that when I hate myself? And I said, well, it's not really that difficult. It's just, you just need to remember that you're telling me what you're telling me right now because you taught yourself to look at yourself that way. And that came about because you told yourself the same things over and over again, or you had somebody tell you these things over and over again till you got to the point that you believed it about yourself. And then when you believed you were unworthy, then you started doing things that would create drama for you that would witness back to the idea that you're really unworthy. It all started with what you were taught. So how do you get out of it? You have to give yourself a brand new set of thoughts. How do you do that? Here's one group that's an example of that, and there are literally thousands of groups that's like that. All you have to do is immerse yourself in an environment that's totally different from the one that you've been giving yourself in the past, but don't do it unless it's fun.
There you go.
Don't do it unless don't do it unless it turns you on. Don't do it unless it inspires you. I pray every day that nobody walks through that door that's here for any other reason other than they really want to be here. You don't need another class that you're forcing yourself to do something that you really don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? What's the sense of coming here if it's not joyful for you and it doesn't feel safe for you and it doesn't feel good for you and you don't feel like you benefit from it and you don't feel like you're inspired by it? That's the environment we already in that we're trying to get out of. You know, that's why my number one rule for my classes is, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to jam. I'm going to hear the truth. I'm going to give it to myself over and over again. And you know why? Because it's working in my life. That's why. Because it's working in my life.
Right.
That's why. And I know I'm not special. I'm just willing. I just reached my limit. I had enough. Now I've reached my limit again. Now I'm going to let it go to another level. I've had it. I want more heart connections now. I'm sick of just intellectual truth. I want to experience real connections with other people that are a reflection of the heart and not just empty words. That means, doggone it, I got to be that way myself. I knew it was a catch. I got to be the way I want to have. And one last statement I want to say is this one. You have a sacred, powerful being. You have a sacred, powerful being. When you get out the shower, don't run past the mirror. Look at your body. Tell your body it's innocent. Thank your body for serving you the way it does. Ask your body what it wants to eat. Ask your body where it wants to go. Ask your body what clothes it wants to wear. Ask your body who it wants to make love to. Ask your body who it wants to talk to, who it wants to be around. Ask it. It has a consciousness in it. It will respond. You pick up a menu, you ask your body, what do I want to eat? Look at that body and go, hey, you know what? You're an aid to help me get back to the love I've been looking for. You're my aid to help me get back to the love I've been looking for. Because every time your body disappoints you, you attack your body with your thoughts. And when you attack your body with your thoughts because you hate your body, that's what makes your body sick. So healing is forgiveness. But I really don't like myself. I tell myself horrible things about myself. How can I get past it? You know what? If I don't tell myself that, I'm going to darn sure make sure I'm around some people that are going to witness it back to me until I learn how to see myself that way.